Hello children, now you are watching the 8th video of the chapter Conditional and Iterative Statements. Now we finished different varieties of examples from the chapter and now you are very well versed with the use of for loop. Now it's time to explore more from the for loop. That means what all things can I do with for loop? So many things are there among which very few only I can show in this video. The rest will come in the form of assignments or even in the test papers. Now it's time to think logically. That means if a question is given to you, it is up to you to proceed to that particular solution. It is not that what I am saying or what the question solution which I am referring to will be the only solution, because you can have so many different ways to reach a particular solution. Just like to reach a particular place in this real world, there is maybe there is through three or more or four even routes, and we will actually catch the easiest route, isn't it? So what I will show you is the easiest way to reach the solution of certain questions. So let's start. Remember, the last program which we had was to find the sum of 10 natural numbers, and we made it 6 natural numbers, and that part was clear, I suppose. So now I'm going to show you what you call as factorial. Now what is a factorial? Let's try that. I have done and kept certain programs over here already so that we can save time. Okay, so this is it. Once again, let me just take it and let me just move this screen to this side. Factorial, you might have heard in maths, if I'm not wrong. If you have not heard, also no issues. It is nothing but the product of the numbers starting from 1 to the number which I'm trying to find out the factorial of. For example, uh, if I want the factorial of 5, I should be writing factorial of 5. I will be writing in maths, that is in mathematical terms, I'll be writing that with an exclamation mark. 5 factorial, that is how we write in maths, okay, this way. But we don't have to write like that and all here, because it is just to know how to reach that solution. And the solution some of you might have already gone through, but I'm going to explain to you. See, when you found or when you wanted to find the sum of a set of numbers, the first variable to which we are going to store the sum, we initialized or we assigned it to 0, because we know any number added with 0 will give you the same. When you want to find the product of such things or product of a set of numbers, the variable to which the product has to be stored should be assigned with 1. Why? Because we know the first value which we are going to multiply and keep it. If you want that to be there, any number multiplied with 1 will give you the same number. So that concept should be now clear. That means in order to accumulate and store the sum of any such questions, we need to initialize or assign that variable sum equal to 0. In order to find the product of any of such things, any such variable it is, we need to make sure that is initialized or assigned to 1. Alright, let's proceed. Okay. Now we have this first question, that is enter a number whose factorial is to be found out. And I have inputted that. Okay. Like this way. This time the message is coming on the top in the print. And as I told you, that variable to which I'm going to store my product is equal to 1. That means in the each iteration, here when we have v in range 1 comma num plus 1. Why num plus 1 is given? Because if I am entering here the numbers 5, I should be starting with 1, and the 1 should be multiplied with 2, then 2 should be multiplied with 3, 4 and 5. You should reach 5. So only if you give num plus 1, it will be going there, because if you give simply num, it will extend to one number less than the original, isn't it? So that part should be kept in mind. That is why I am just showing you can have any such varieties here. Alright, so v in range 1. So the first iteration v will be assigned with 1, and that value will be assigned to product, because you know 1 into 1 equal to 1. So you understood again why we are assigning prod equal to 1, because in order to store a continuous process of product multiplications, products, values, you need that first initialized value. Suppose if I'm not giving here 1, or even I'm not initializing anything here as 1 or 0 or whatever it is, definitely it is going to show you, or it will lead to that logical error. Okay. Or even the other error which you remember in the last video, I was explaining that, even in our presentation I explained that it will say prod is not defined, because prod has to be defined on the top itself, not inside the for loop. So it has to be there. Let's see. So 1 into 1, it's been assigned with prod itself, so it's 1. Again in the next iteration v will be 2, so 1 into 2 will be stored. And again in the third iteration v will be 3, so that is already 2, 1 into 2 will be stored there. So 2 into 3 will be multiplied, and that will be stored. Now again, so that is 6 now, isn't it? Now again b will become 4, and that will be again stored. And then you have 4 into 6, understood? Like that it goes to 5, and the 5 also will be stored. If you wanted to see what I'm talking here when I run the program, you can just try to give like this. So each value will be stored or shown to you each time what is happening. Let's run the program, because at the end when I write print factorial of num, product might have already accumulated the product of 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into, if it is 5, the number entered is still 5. If it is 6, still 6. Let's take a small number so that we can remember the correction or the multiplication. So 5, the number I am going to enter. Let's make it 4 this time. Short. See, first time 1 into 1, 1. Second time 1 is already stored. Now v was 2, and then you have 2 into 1, 2. Then you have this one, that means v becomes 3. Already product is having 2, so it will become 3 into 2, 6. Next time you have v as 4, then you have already this value, 6 4s are 24. By the time the loop stopped, and we can stop this. If I want, I can show you one more here, which will be actually coming in the next program also, but I'm just showing you here. That means if I write here an else, that means just like I use if else, I can use an else here. I can say loop over, so we will know what will be the when will this get printed. I'm going to put one more so that that line difference will come. Again, this time let me make it as 5. I'm sorry, my cursor should come here. Yeah, I made a mistake by moving the cursor in an unordered way, so I have to close it and then run. See, the cursor has to come that place only. I am entering 5. So 1, 2, 6, 24, 120. 120 is the product of 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. And that loop over came when the entire iteration is over, and factorial of 5 equal to 120 came when everything is over, because it is outside the loop. So how does the flow of control works here? First, num is num equal to int input is inputted. Value will be taken. Product will be assigned to 1. So then in the memory, these two values are stored, num and product. Then the loop starts. Each time the multiplication is continued, and each time the multiplied product will be shown, and a line will be displayed in between. Keep on doing that for the number of times you have given the iteration. Then the loop over will come, and after that the flow of control will shift to factorial of num is equal to so and so. So let's see if you understood this. Let's go for the next one. The same thing I have done in a different manner. One small difference only. Okay, let's see why. Here the number we expect is 1, starting from 1, isn't it? I have given 1 here in range. What if by chance this this number, the person who is entering the number is entering 0 or anything like a negative 1? In order to avoid that situation, if I want, only if I want, that is not part of your examination point of view, but in order to improvise the look and the style and the credibility of your program, you can give an if num greater than 0. And if num is greater than 0, definitely the condition will be only satisfied and only then you will be able to enter into this range. So this time the factorial is found out only if the number which we entered is greater than 0. In the other case, even if it is 0, it will work, and you can see the error, which is not error, logical error, which is going to come. The rest is same. See, this time I have given that factorial of num here, and this else is not the for else, it is if else. Okay, so if else, at the end you are saying enter a number greater than 0. Let's run this. Let's say I am entering 9. See, so now let's run the other program, the first program. This time I'll enter again 9. You understood the issue. It is actually going into the loop, is showing loop over. No answer will come because the condition was never satisfied, because it was for in range of 1. So start from 1. But it is showing factorial of minus 9 equal to 1. Why? Because we never checked the condition, and this statement without the if only, the first one, okay, this statement anyway will get executed. So the initial value of prod equal to 1, isn't it? And that one will be displayed here, per factorial of, see, num, that value of 9 equal to prod. So you can't do anything about that, and it will be showing what we call as a logical error. What is logical error? Undesired output. Okay, so I hope the factorial program is clear. Let's do another program. Okay, this time it's factor. This time again with 4 only. We are moving with the different kinds of 4, and at the end only I'll be maybe in the next video I'll be showing you something else. Factors. You know the factors to identify it, isn't it? In your classroom, in your smaller classes, you already know how to find the factors of a number. How you can take that particular, different numbers which is less than the original number, and you will divide it. If the numbers are divisible, that means if 6 is the number whose factors are to be found out, you will take 6. Of course, 6 is divided by 6 is divisible, sure. Then you'll go to 5, and 6 percentage 5 or 6 divided by 5 won't work, but 6 percentage 4 will work. So it is also divisible because the remainder is 0. So whenever the remainder is coming as 0, those are considered as factors. 6 percentage 3, correct. I mean, depending upon 6 percentage 4, when I said it's wrong, actually what I'm saying is, if the remainder is 0, then the number is being considered as a factor of it. So the same technique is used here. You will take a number, that is, for example, 6 I am taking. So I will start my range. You have to think about how will I start my range. I have to start from 1, or I can start from 6 also. 6 in reverse type. 6 to 1 or 1 to 6. So this time it's 1 to 6 if num is 6. So 6 plus 1, of course 7 will come. So 1 comma 6. That much time the loop will iterate, and what will I do? I will check if 6 percentage 1 equal to 0. If it is satisfying the condition, then that particular factor, which is 1, will be printed. Any number divisible by that given number, that is, for example, the factors which you have to find out is been right now putting in this I, or it has been found in this I, one by one. Each number which is less than the original number will be stored in this I, and the original number, when you divide with these values in I, if it is having the remainder as 0, it is considered as a factor. That's the idea. Okay, so if this is satisfying, I will be printed, and at the end I have given a /t. Else loop is completed is coming. Which else is this? There is no if here. This else is our for loop else. Now let's run the program. Okay, enter a number. Let's take 6 itself. I have taken 6 factors are 1, 2, 3, 6. How you got 1, 2, 3, 6? First I took 1 in that for loop, and then 6 percentage 1 is satisfying. So it is considered unprinted. Then 2 comes. 6 percentage 2 is also satisfying because that number, when you divide, you are getting the remainder as 0. 6 percentage 3 is also satisfying. So that is also considered. 6 percentage 4 is not considered. 6 percentage 5 is not considered because the remainder is not 0. After that, we reach 6%. 6 is divisible, so it is also printed and it is giving loop completed. Now I equal to 6 because I've given to show you that till where the i's value will go. The final value of I will never reach plus 1. It will be the remaining 1 less than that, and thank you is printed. So two programs, that is, one is to find the factorial, the next is to find the factors. Go through it. Difference between these two has to be understood, and if doubt is there, of course we will discuss in the meet. Thank you.